Good morning, Bob. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's good to be here, and you've got a great event and a terrific audience. There's a lot of old friends and colleagues here, so I'm glad to be part of that.
Thank you very much. Well, as you quite well pointed out, there are a lot of people here already do know who you are, but for those that don't, perhaps if you'd like to introduce yourself and Insect.
Certainly. My name is Bob Murrett. I'm currently at the Institute for National Security and Counterterrorism, and I'm the faculty of the Maxwell School at Syracuse University in Syracuse, New York. And beforehand, I was a career naval officer for about 34 years and served as the director of NGA, the director of Naval Intelligence, and I was the vice director for intelligence in the Joint Staff and a series of other float and ashore assignments.
That's an incredibly impressive CV, particularly in the geospatial world. So, first of all, what are the biggest developments that you're seeing, particularly over the last year?
As we talked about this morning, great question. I think the most recent developments that we've seen that we've emphasized here at the conference have to do with global insecurity and the challenges that we have associated with that, both for the intelligence community and also for our respective defense organizations around the world. But on the encouraging side, the way that we are working together to address a lot of those concerns related to the range of security challenges that we have. A really good example that I would provide, which we've touched on, is the NATO alliance and the difference that they continue to make and the way that NATO continues to have more and more relevance as time goes on, and we've seen ample evidence of that certainly in the past year or so.
So obviously we've seen quite a lot of changes, but with everything coming together, big data has been a big discussion here, and I know you were talking about how the geospatial side is becoming more and more interpolated with all other forms of intelligence. Is it getting to the point where it's no longer simply going to be geospatial and it's just intelligence?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think two things that I would stress in response to the question. First, geospatial always needs to be a part of the whole and part of an all-source multi-int picture with full understanding of what the general context is. But at the same time you do that, the balancing act that you have to strike, which I think we're being very effective at, is to be the absolute subject matter experts on the geospatial intelligence and the people that can demonstrate the value of what it is that our craft is involved in, and at the same time make sure it's done so in a way that's effectively absorbed and delivered to the people that need it. The other technical issue that you touched on, which I think is important, has to do with the challenges we have because of the range of data and other things, but I view that more as an opportunity than a challenge. And you can use several examples, but the technical solutions that we have today, for example, in storage media, data transmission and computing, are advancing dramatically, and I think that is actually outpacing some of the challenges that we've got.
Absolutely. A lot of people have been saying that it's no longer the technology that's the challenge, it's what we do with that technology, that we can store things, we can bring things together, but how are we going to get around that? What are the biggest hold-ups, I suppose, the human hold-ups, the human issues?
And one of the things that we talked about in detail is enabling the analysts that we have, the people element, which typically doesn't get as much attention as it ought to, because technology solutions tend to be, especially in the private sector, things that get a fair amount of focus, but the people element is something that I'm glad to see stressed here at the conference and getting the attention that it deserves.
So what are we looking to achieve then, ultimately?
I think making sure that in the three areas that we touched on this morning, we are as relevant as we possibly can to the global security challenges that we've had, which have been illustrated amply here at the discussion. Second, to do them as part of a broader team, which we all, I think, of us in the community continue to do, and I would comment that NGA, an organization that I used to be part of the leadership team for, continues to do great work in that area and move out, and I'm very proud of the continued progress that NGA is making. And then third, to do so in ways that focus on the people element as much as the technical details that we have to deal with.
So obviously people are very happy to hear from you, but what is it that you want to get most out of being here at DGI?
I think just because of my current walk of life that I'm in, the relevance of what we do relative to the students that I teach in the academic sector, and also just being part of the team that in many ways, great and small, continues to make a contribution to some of the broader issues on global insecurity that we've been talking about here today.
So if people do want to know more about what you do, where can they go to find out more?
Syracuse, New York. That's where my family and I are located now. I'm on the, as I mentioned, the faculty of Syracuse University and at the Institute for National Security there. And we have a really good website, both for the university and the Maxwell School. And there's a lot of information there in terms of the current work that we are doing, both within the university, but also as part of the broader national security domain.
Well, thank you very much for your time, but I know there's actually a panel session happening right now that I think we both want to attend to, so I think it's time to call it a day. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. It's good to be here.